Group projects. We all know them, and we all hate them. And if you've somehow never been in a group project, what's it like to not fantasize about murder? I have been in the typical bad group project in the past, but this most recent one just might be the worst of all time. Go ahead, think of the worst group project you've ever been a part of. I'll wait. And guess what? You're wasting your time. It won't compare to this. Just as an appetizer before the main course, I actually like group projects. I'm a pretty creative person, so usually my group mates trust my vision and eventually do their parts, even if it's the night it's due. But hey, this is a no judgment zone. Unless you were in my most recent group project. You should be lucky you're not charged with life in prison. Bio 4990. One of my last biology degree requirements. It's simple. Form a group of 3, come up with a research question, and present 2 times. Easy, right? Right? Maybe if you didn't have as partners, we formed a group with a dental focus. Presentation 1. What is gingivitis? Pretty simple, right? Define gingivitis, provide a couple studies, talk for 25 minutes. Pretty straightforward. We had 2 months to do our research and make our presentation. Wow, that's great. How nice of my university to give us all an easy A class to boost our GPA before we graduate. I don't know what else I could have done. I made a template for all of us to have nice slides, had mine done 3 days early, and I was ready to go. My group finished their presentation an hour before it was due. Person 1, who we'll call Hank, talked with his back to the class and, in order to extend his talking time, pretended to have a cough. So this is what he sounded like. Person 2, who we'll call Jimmy, was actually a smart kid. But, there's always a but, he was already accepted into dental school. AKA, he didn't care anymore. He just wanted to pass. He just straight up got information wrong, such as saying that gingivitis can cause diabetes, which is just false information. Diabetes can make it harder to recover from gingivitis symptoms. We got a 60. Okay, guys, that went really bad. Let's lock in for presentation 2 and get... As I'm writing this, presentation 2 was 12 hours ago. So forgive me if I'm animated. Okay, presentation 2. How can genetics, lifestyle changes, and oral hygiene affect the symptoms of gingivitis? I'm covering oral hygiene, Jimmy has genetics, and Hank has lifestyle changes. What can go wrong? Everything? Okay, great! This time I got my presentation done 2 weeks early. I have the slides decorated, and I have the links labeled for each study everyone has to do. I probably know everyone's sources better than them, so I can help with any questions needed. I won't even waste my time with the explosion again. POV. It's midnight, the night before the presentation. Nothing is added to the slides. I text the group chat, hey, does anyone have any slides done that just aren't in the Canva yet? Hank replies, yes, and sends screenshots of his slides already done. Except they're about the first presentation research question. He thought we were doing the same question. Before you say that's my fault for not having us meet and figure everything out, 2 weeks ago, we had to write a paper using our research question for presentation 2. So he knew the question. Wait, sorry, did I say we each had to write a paper? I mean, I had to write 2 papers because Hank stole mine. See, we had to write about a source we specifically found. Only problem? Hank didn't find any sources. And Jimmy didn't want Hank to fail, so he gave Hank one of my sources and one of his. Unlucky for me, the source I wrote a paper about just so happened to be the one Jimmy gave Hank. So I had to rewrite the whole thing while Hank just copy-pasted my paper. So back to midnight before the presentation. I have a mini panic attack, tell Hank which slides to erase, add, and scripted the ones that worked, and I go to bed. I wake up at 9 a.m., and there's still nothing in the Canva. What? So I check the group chat, and Hank says, "What email did you send the Canva to again?" Hank, how many f***ing emails do you have? He finds the link, adds his slides, then gives me a call.
Hey, so like, what do I say for these?
I take a look at his slides, and it's literally a screenshot from ChatGPT. Like, you know how it always says, why this is important, arrow, and it has a little arrow? It was literally that. So I spent 35 minutes essentially scripting out this presentation for him, which I know is going in one ear and out the other, but I tried my best. And he says,
"Okay, sounds good."
I hang up and take a lap around the house, but my 5 seconds of peace gets interrupted by a phone call from Jimmy. Oh yeah, forgot to mention he was on a plane and landed at 11:05 a.m. when we present in a couple hours, but sure, don't upload your slides early, man. I calmly ask him how his genetics portion was, and you know what he tells me? He told me he had the most beautiful slides with 3 brilliant studies. And I'm just f***ing kidding. He told me he didn't make any slides and was just gonna do the intro and outro. Oh yeah, that's fine. We'll just ignore the genetics on a presentation about genetics. No problem at all. So at this point, I give up and I go to my Physics 2 lab hoping that this is all just a huge prank. I get done at 1:20 p.m. and run upstairs for my presentation. Jimmy did his intro fine if you ignore eye contact, likes, yas, and poor posture. I mean, how hard is it to mess up an intro? Then Hank goes. And I kid you not, I almost passed away. His first slide was discussing certain syndromes and how that can negatively affect gingivitis. Then he flips to a study, and for the rest of the presentation, he calls non-syndrome individuals/participants as normal people. Yeah, I was essentially watching my degree fly just out of my arms. I wish I could say I started to have a panic attack, but honestly, I was emotionless. I just accepted that we would be lucky to have a 60+, and I was gonna have to carry. It's my turn. I give my presentation on the most beneficial oral hygiene methods, present my graphs, images, and data, and my teacher told me my graphs were wrong. Well, he didn't say they were wrong, but he asked me a question as if my understanding of the graphs were wrong. And he attacked my biggest character flaw, self-confidence. I knew with all my heart that I had this graph correct, but he's a teacher. He goes by doctor instead of mister. Clearly he's trying to throw me a bone and help me out. So I make something up. And guess what? I was right initially. What I made up was wrong. I should have stuck to my guns, but I didn't believe in myself. And now I couldn't go and explain to the teacher because I messed up my part. I was also a failure in this group. Well, that feeling faded after about a week and I fully snitched. I could care less. We somehow got another 60%. I couldn't believe it was a passing grade, but even with that, I had to make sure I was going to pass this class. I fully annotated all of our text messages, went and bought a binder to organize it, scheduled my meeting time, and there was nothing he could do. No extra points. No guarantee I could pass with these scores. Nothing. I couldn't even get a 61%, while they got a 60%. Are you kidding me? Future Jackson here, and final grades finally came out, and I passed. Somehow. It was a close one for sure. I don't wish Bio 4990 on my worst enemy, but it would have been awesome to know that Jimmy and Hank had to take it a second time. Okay, we got another video done, and my longest one at that. I'm sorry that it's been over a month. I was really trying to do monthly uploads this year, but I had to take my time with this one because there was just so much to cover. There was actually something that I didn't get to add to this video because it took so long to make that I recorded the audio over 2 months ago. But after my last final, I was walking out of the science building, and one of the teachers from this class, because we had two, came up to me and he was like, "Oh, I heard you had a conversation about Hank and Jimmy." And I was like, "Yeah, like, I didn't want to snitch or anything. I wanted to make it work, but I just have to make sure I can pass." And he was like, "Don't worry. We know that you did more work. We could tell when you were presenting and stuff." So then I was like, "Oh, wait. Maybe they can give me a grade boost, but they just couldn't say it because of syllabi reasons and stuff like that." But nope, I got the same grade. So that's my worst grade in college now. But at least I passed and I graduated. So yeah, next video is on the way. Leave a comment down below to be featured in the next video. No one left a answer to the summer camp one. So if you want to be featured in the next video here in the end card, comment down below what your worst school project was. It doesn't have to be a group project, but if you had just a terrible school project, comment down below and I'll read it off in the next video. Thank you.